Hi children, on a typical school day, morning, let's say you take half an hour to get dressed, okay, and about 5 or 10 minutes to have breakfast, and right, so you have something like half an hour to 30-40 minutes, and then you go out to catch your bus or whatever way. So the transit will take anywhere from 15 if you're really lucky to somewhere like 45 minutes if we take on a higher higher end. You have 45 minutes of time that you take to go to school, and then once you're in the school, you keep your bag and stuff and assembly and everything, and then finally when you sit to study, you take another 15-20 minutes more. So altogether in the morning you have something like 1.5 hours you would spend before you can start studying, right? And then you have the same thing when you come back from school, whatever the transit time is taken, and then you dump your bag and change and everything, and then after you have your breakfast, you need to rest. Many children told me that, ma'am, I need to rest after I come back from school just to sort of get back my thought, right? So you rest and then you start studying whatever time in the evening. So something like an hour and a half to a maximum of 2 before you start studying in the morning, and a similar amount of time, probably a little bit more for children who are living in cities, little bit more is spent in the morning. So calculate all that time that you take from the actual time you study and from the time you finish studying to the time you start doing your homework. You have something like 3 to 4 hours time altogether. If you collate it together, 3 to 4 hours of time that you used to use for preparation to go to school and come back, right? And that entire time now is yours, because you don't get dressed to go to school, you don't have to pack your bag, you don't have to wear your shoes, you don't have to run to the bus or however you go to school. So all that time is what you have collected during the day. And imagine if you collect all this time during an entire week. So let's take an average of 2 hours. When you have 2 hours and 5 days a week is 10 hours a week is a lot of time. No, it's a lot of time, 10 hours a week, or some children even spend more than that. It could even go up to 15 hours a week. And what are you doing with that time now? Are we putting into constructive use, or are we just whiling it away? I know that initially it would have been nice to sort of just whiling it away and doing nothing, just sort of resting and getting back to being what you want to be. But over the days, now it's almost into 4-5 months, almost August now, and 14 hours a week into the number of months that we have spent is a lot of time, right? And so I would like to remind you here about how can you use that 14 hours a week time, or even if you take something like just 1 hour a day, if you can, spend on something called hobbies, right? So with a lot of children that I speak, many of them tell me that they don't have hobbies, they don't pursue hobbies. Now, yeah, many of us go to hobby classes, but hobby classes have something called a deadline, right? I go to class, they teach me, and I learn what is being taught and try to reproduce as much as possible. But a hobby would actually mean when you do something which is completely your own. It doesn't belong to anybody. I just want to do it because I want to do it, not because I have to do it, or because somebody else has asked me to do it, or because this will help me in something else. No, none of that. I'm just doing it. There is no reason. I just do it because it's creative, it's constructive, and I like to use my brain in that direction. It may have nothing to do with my studies, it may have nothing to do with the other passions which I'm following, but this is something it's really, really mine. What kind of hobbies can you follow during these days? Because it's a lot of time, right? And imagine in 4 months, if you had spent even 1 hour, how much of time you've collected with respect to doing something. And if you had really spent the time doing something which is completely your own, you could have come up with magic, right? It would really give you wonders. So you could of course paint. Now if you've been going for painting classes, they teach you something that's a typical painting. Would you want to explore something beyond what is being taught? Because there's no reason, I just want to try it. That becomes your hobby. So what else you're trying because you want to do it becomes your hobby. If they're teaching you music, okay, going for music lessons, they're teaching you something. Can you pick up something else beyond that? Now these are examples of how you can extend whatever classes you're doing into doing something on your own. But you can also pick up something that's completely that people are not doing, or you have not been doing anything. Pick up gardening, for example. Now how can you do gardening for people who don't have soil? Why don't you try growing microgreens? Take a small carton or a tiffin box or whatever, make sure you put some drain holes into that so as to allow some drainage to happen. And from the kitchen you could take your methi seeds, jeera seeds, sauf, mustard. Any of these, beans for example, can just be sown in a small space which could grow either in either in cotton or tissue paper. If you have soil, wonderful, nothing like it. Grow something. So if you look around, there will be many things that you can actually do. You could do some DIYs, do it yourselves, pick up something, create and start constructing something. So many things can be done, right? So let us look at what we are doing with the time that we have collected, because now we're not going to school. These are perks of not going to school, right? You've collected so much of time, you're much more relaxed and don't have to spend time, where are my uniform, where's my bag, is my bag packed, and all that is not there anymore, right? So let's use these things more constructively, and post your things. If you have already been doing something, I'd like you to send me messages, or you can post it, tell me in some way, send me a mail for example, and tell me what you're doing, and I will try and make sure that some of these creative things that children have done, tell me your age also. So for some of these things, that creative things that you've done, I'll bring out in my next video. Okay, until then, ciao, bye.